So as a Swedish guy, I didn't really know that much about Justin Trudeau before this whole, well, basically before these last 2 years, and especially before the latest developments with the protest, with the Convoy in Ottawa, which made me kind of look into more about him and more how he is like as a person and as a politician, which I didn't know that much about. I've just seen very short, brief clips of him before through the years, and I didn't really care about Canadian politics before now, but here we are, and suddenly the whole world cares about Canadian politics. So, but the more I'm looking into old clips of him and how he's behaved and how he talks, frankly, the more a bit disgusted I am, because I could talk a lot more about how he acts and kind of carries himself and towards people, because I feel like there's a lot of things to be said there, but I wanted to just kind of compare two clips in this video with him when he was confronting a protester. I think it was after the Omar Khadr case, when the government paid out a lot of money, and he was at this town hall kind of thing, and he was confronted by a protester that was questioning the Canadian government's payout, and this is how he responded.
Government did or did not do. And when a Canadian government willfully turns its back on defending a Canadian's rights and allows a Canadian to be tortured and mistreated, we all end up paying. That is the lesson.
So those are pretty strong words, right, about the Canadian government mistreating its citizens. And in this case, he was very clear about what responsibility you have as the government and for him as the prime minister for the people, and not mistreating them. And basically this is about, this whole little speech from his side was about standing up for the rights of a citizen, no matter what that citizen had done or supposedly had done. He made this point in this speech that it was about the actions of the Canadian government that was at fault here. That was the importance of this. So, and let's compare this to recent times. I think that was 2018, I think, so it's not so long ago. But here he is just recently, I think it was not so long ago. I think it was right around the beginning of the year, if not December. So let's see what he says now.
Oui, on va s'en sortir de cette pandémie par la vaccination. Puis on en connaît tous des gens qui sont en train d'hésiter un petit peu. On va continuer d'essayer de les convaincre. Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes.
This is wild, right? So she just interjects, they are extremists. And he's going with this whole narrative, right? It's the people he's describing here are normal people that for one reason or another does not want to take one particular drug, right? It doesn't matter that it's this vaccine, whatever. It's one particular drug that these people, for some reason, they don't want to take, right? You might have a reason, they might have another reason to not want to, right? That is their right as an individual in a free society. But he doesn't care, because I guess to him these are people that don't believe in science. But the most telling thing here is that he does not argue the point. He instead of trying to argue the point of what's actually happening, right, what these people are actually against, which is the force and the mandates and the removal of their individual freedoms, instead he just throws it out there, right, that they're extremists, they're often misogynists, also often racists. So Let's see what he says in the end of
souvent
this clip.
raciste aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place. Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on...
We have to make a choice as leaders. Do we tolerate these people? And what my question obviously becomes, what does tolerate mean? And what happens if he doesn't tolerate these people? These are very strong words and very frightening words, to be honest, because what does it mean for a leader of an entire nation to not tolerate, you know, millions of people, pretty much? And it will become even more people if you consider that as time goes on and people need to take extra boosters, right, to keep up on the schedule, there's going to be people that, you know, want to stop at a certain number. And those people also fall into this group of, I guess, extremist, misogynist, racist, right? That it is such a difference from, you know, the guy we just heard that basically argue that you have to stand up for an individual's rights, and this whole payment to Omar Khadr was, it's just you had to do it because it wasn't about the individual's actions per se. It was more about the status of a citizen in the country of Canada that has to be respected, and the actions of the Canadian country that was so wrong that they had to do this payment and basically restitution. But, you know, how it can turn so fast from that to this, right?
Est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là ou est-ce qu'on dit, ben voyons, la plupart des gens, presque 80% des Québécois ont fait ce qu'il fallait faire, se sont fait vacciner, on veut revenir aux choses qu'on aime faire. C'est pas ces gens-là qui vont nous bloquer. Maintenant, oui, on va...
Yeah. So, and he goes on to say that it's about 80% of the people in Quebec is vaccinated. But that means 20% are not, right? So he's basically calling into question here in, I guess, national TV, that are we supposed to tolerate 20% of the people in this region? That's a lot of people. Imagine if you're in a room with 10 people. That's 2 of those people. You're saying like, hey, guys, we cannot tolerate these 2 guys. They cannot be a part of us. I mean, what would you say to such a person? What would you... I mean, how would you react, right? If you're in a building with 100 people and someone starts talking in this manner about 20 of them, this is not a way that a leader ever should talk about the people in a region or in the country or anything, because these people are not extreme. I'm going to make it clear, right? These people are not extremist. They are not misogynist. They're not, whatever he said, sexist, racist. I think in another... let's pull up this tweet, actually, because he made it even more clear in a tweet here. Yeah, so this was his tweet now in the 2nd of February. Today in the House, members of Parliament unanimously condemned the anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-black racism, homophobia, and transphobia that we've seen on display in Ottawa over the past number of days. So obviously this is just such a statement, right? He just throws this out there and hoping, he's basically hoping it will stick, right? Because this is, to me, this is a sign of someone that's quite desperate. It's not the words of someone that's confident and can, you know, face the critique that he's getting. It's just someone that's trying to deflect it into something different entirely. And the sad part is that some people actually fall for this. I've seen on Twitter and seen online that there's a bunch of people that actually fall for this and actually go on and on about, you know, the supposed sexism, whatever, in Ottawa amongst the protesters. And it's just not the case. if you watch actual feeds and people from this on site, basically, it's just not the case. But yeah, these are, I guess, maybe it's two of the many faces of Justin Trudeau, but honestly, I'm a bit disgusted.